Welcome. This is David Boles, Human Meme. Today's topic, directed live lucid dreaming. In a recent Human Meme podcast about time travel, dreaming, and wokefulness, I received a lot of feedback asking for more information about directed dreaming, intentional floating, and living in the dream state. So today I thought we'd do something a little different. I'll introduce you to my theory and my function of live lucid dreaming and how to get there, and it's all based on basic human living. There's no religion or other toxic philosophy at work here. This is the sort of thing I teach in my acting movement classes at the university to help students and actors relax and focus and find new ways of thinking. Now let's be clear, I'm not an expert. I am not a doctor. This is not a medical procedure. So carry on at your own risk. Now, this process of lucid dreaming is not transcendental meditation or yoga breathing or thoughtfulness, really, though you may recognize threads of those popular beings in this conversation if you have some previous exposure. So, before we begin, we'll start with a bit of history. When we have generally asked as a people this question, what is life? And we've been asking that question since the beginning of time in order to check our own well-being and that of others. What is life? We sometimes philosophically answer that life is an active mind, or a happy heart, or a life filled with family and children and friends. But if we ask that question, what is life physiologically, taking perhaps a more limited and medicinal view of the body and of life itself, the inevitable answer always points down to one objective: breath, breathing. The inhalation of air is the consequence of life, and its subsequent expiration is the sign of life. We can lose our minds and still be alive. We can replace our hearts and still be alive. But if we are unable to breathe, the billowing of life in our lungs, then we are clinically, and for the purposes of this Human Meme podcast, and epistemologically speaking, dead and done. And so I invented this breathing technique mainly for use with my acting students, and I tell them the objective of this breathing process is not to relax and not to fall asleep. And then I go on to yell at them a little bit and tell them if they fall asleep during this lucid dreaming technique, they fail the class. And after they stop laughing, I am able to make the point that the point of this is not to relax. You're actually going to be very awake during this process. You are not zoning out. You are paying acute attention to not only me, but to yourself, your breath, and where we are going to float you and then land you. And I'll warn you now, you may even be completely exhausted when you come back. And that's to be expected. You're going to be multitasking on several different human realms and levels. And if you're doing it right, your acute attention and involvement are absolutely required. Now, this breathing technique is not only for students, but for prisoners and for others who are stuck in a life they do not want, and for those found in a situation not of their choosing. And with practice, you can jailbreak yourself every day, all day, reforming, re-terraforming the human constraints of your life. And with this process, you may live whatever life you like. Who is to say your body must be moved for your spirit to be moved? Or that your essence of thought must always stay inside bones and blood? The dream of your soul is born to be unbound. If you are a longtime listener of this Human Meme podcast, you've heard me previously share the story of the young child who is standing up in a car seat while the car is moving, and the parent is yelling at the child to sit down, be safe, and the child is crying and wailing and wants to stand and not sit, but ultimately relents and sits down, because the parent is the master. And the parent is stronger. And the parent will imperil will at will. And through tears and wailing, the now seated child screams back at the parent, "I'm still standing in my mind." And that, my human meme friend, is the point and the purpose of all of this. Throughout history, torturers and the state and the city have always believed in punishing the body and the mind will follow, when in reality just the opposite is true. The mind is always strong, and it is the human mind that frees the bound celestial body from the limitations of human cruelty. Always. If in your real life you are about to be drowned, locked in a cage filling with water from the river, escape to the surface. Live for that last breath, as your last thought is of the life you live in the sun, and not the cold death your keeper puts upon you in the dark. You are your own occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge. Live that imagination. The fantasy becomes you. Freedom is the wake of the living. And remember, nobody but you binds you. Nobody but you controls how your body reacts to your mind. Nobody but you draws your last breath. And as you slowly drown, caged in the river, you are floating above the water, facing the sun, and still breathing. And the moment is here. Let's prepare you now for directed live lucid dreaming. Darken the room around you. The darker, the better. You're going to get flat on your back on the floor. Pick a firm surface, not a bed. A wooden floor is better because wood breathes with you, just like you. If you need a pillow for your head, use a small pillow. Relax your arms and your legs. Don't go completely limp. Keep a small amount of tension in your legs and arms to help keep you focused, awake, and aware. And now, close your eyes. Now we begin with the first breath. you will slowly breathe in through your nose and exhale through your mouth. And you might feel like laughing, or you may have to cough or twitch a little. All that's fine. Just do it. Those are all nervous signs of mortal consciousness leaving the body. Okay, breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. If your nose is stuffy or clogged, that's fine. Just keep breathing in this slow, methodical rhythm. Everything will open. Everything will flow. In through your nose, out through your mouth. And your nose will magically become clear. Inhale the color blue, the sea of the sky. Exhale the color black, the ash of bad feelings. In with the blue, out with the black. In with the blue, out with the black. Good. Continue breathing. And pick your own color to breathe in through your nose. Pick your own color to let loose out through the mouth. Again. In through the nose, out again through the mouth. One more time. Good. Now, as you continue this breathing pattern, in through your nose, out through your mouth, your eyes are still closed, but you see you are now standing outside. You see the sun shining down on you. Look around. What else do you see? There's a hard sun. The harsh sort of sun of the summer. A hot, blinding light that hurts your eyes, but you're okay. You're awake now and aware, and you are floating on your back, slightly above the ground. Full face on with the sun. You are lighter, freer. In through your nose, out through your mouth. And now you are lifting a little higher off the ground, into the blue, getting closer to the sun. And you are able to see everything around you. Mountains over there, a river right here. There is tall grass below you, blowing one way, and then the other. All signs of life, the indices of the breath of being. The earth feels you, and you feel the earth alive, and you're watching the earth breathe below you. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Now you are floating again, a little faster this time, over the mountains and into a small town. There is a village below you. Yes, this is a small town you know, but you've never visited here before. In through your nose, out through your mouth. And as you walk on the street, you can hear your own footsteps. You smell food cooking. and you see smoke swirling in the air. Another sign of life, the sign of a kitchen fire bellowing, breathing in the air, the blue air, and exhaling the ash, the black ash of coal and wood released back into the air. In through your nose, out through your mouth. And you see someone in the distance approaching you. You smile. You know the person. That person is slowly approaching you. You are not frightened. You are filled with joy. And you slowly lower yourself so you're on the same plane with this person. And you greet the person. In through your nose, out through your mouth. And you touch each other. A handshake, then an embrace. And you feel this moment is alive and very real and important. And you want to remember this feeling of safety and of belonging to someone forever. In through your nose, out through your mouth. And you whisper something to this person. And the person smiles and whispers back. You share a moment of quiet together. Stillness of being, formed, willing, adjacent, involved, connected. And when you're ready, you say goodbye. In through your nose, out through your mouth. You smile and begin to float away back into the sky. And you are lighter than you've ever felt. In through your nose, out through your mouth. And you are now inside the clouds. And the air around you is breathing you. And you move. And you begin to slowly return to the room, this room, where you began this journey. In through your nose, out through your mouth. And as you descend, you begin to plan your next escape like this. Back in time, forward into the future, next time. Visiting friends you haven't seen before. Resurrecting the dead. Meeting people you've never met before. Saying things to the missing you'd wished you'd shared while they were breathing and alive. And you know, as you slowly sink back into the floor, that anything is possible, and the only limitation on your life is absolutely nothing. Because escape from harm is right there, right here with you right now, flowing in and out with each breath. The light and the power of the human life is yours. In through your nose, out through the mouth. And you feel the weight of your body returning. Tension in your arms and legs builds back into this moment. In through your nose, out through your mouth. And you slowly begin to see the sun has moved behind a cloud. And you feel the darkness of the room, this room, around you again. And you softly begin to awaken. Back here, back home, safe and in place, refreshed from flying, and ready and eager to take that next breath. In, open your eyes. Out, awake. Thank you for listening. Be a human, me.